Episode 499.
If Ye Chu wants to return to the pro scene, there are definitely people who won't want to see that happen.
Zhang Yu spoke, and the crowd fell silent, waiting for him to announce the answer.
Has everyone forgotten the bizarre relationship between Ye Chu and the Jia Dynasty Guild?
Messages of sudden realization flooded the screen. Ye Chu's relationship with the Jia Dynasty Guild was of course incredibly strange. Given Ye Chu's status and ability, stepping down from the team and being made the head of his own guild in the game wouldn't have been out of place at all. Even if he didn't stay on with the club in an official capacity after entering the game in his own club's territory, there should have been some lingering camaraderie, right? But there wasn't. There was nothing at all. It was one thing when we didn't know Lord Grimm's identity, but after we found out, it's always seemed really strange. Some people had already asked Chen Yehui, the leader of the Excellent Dynasty Guild, directly, but he didn't say a word, which clearly meant there was more to the story. As for what exactly was going on, no one could guess. But there was definitely a conflict between Ye Chu and Excellent Era, and it was no ordinary disagreement. His retirement was most likely forced. So of course Excellent Era would be extremely reluctant to see Ye Chu make a comeback. Otherwise, why would they have forced him to retire in the first place?
So, if we just sit back and do nothing, letting Ye Chu and Happy grow unchecked, someone else is going to be a lot more restless than we are.
Zhang Yu said.
And don't forget, Excellent Era's performance this year has been terrible. Looking at the current situation, keeping their league spot is no problem at all, but making the playoffs is completely out of the question. So they can absolutely spare the effort to deal with Ye Chu in the game.
Makes sense.
However,
The group was still somewhat reluctant.
Given the situation, we're out of options. We might as well genuinely take a step back and put on a show for Excellent Era. Then we'll watch their reaction. If they still don't make a move, we'll figure out another plan.
It was clear Zhang Yu had given this considerable thought. As a sworn enemy of Excellent Dynasty, he was naturally more sensitive to their moves, which allowed him to think of this plan a step ahead.
Watch the fire from the opposite shore.
Chen Yilao summed up Zhang Yu's plan.
Exactly.
Zhang Yu was secretly delighted. No matter which side came out worse in this fight, he'd be happy. But on the whole, he still hoped Ye Chu would be taken down a peg. After all, having a top-tier pro player like him in the game was terrifyingly competitive. He felt like a far more formidable opponent than the entire Jia Dynasty Guild combined. Zhang Yu's plan might not be the most reliable, but for now, the guilds truly had no way to deal with Ye Chu, the hunter in Thousand Wave Lake. Then let's just do as Zhang Yu says, and talk our way past this immediate hurdle. We can always turn on them later if it doesn't work out. After all, this kind of thing is common in guild politics. Everyone understands without it being said. Meanwhile, Blue River, who had already decided to sit back and do nothing, never expected to get caught in the crossfire while just lying there. After some discussion, everyone unanimously decided that Blue River would be the one to approach Ye Chu and resolve the current situation peacefully.
After all, you've dealt with him the most and for the longest, so you know him best.
The words Blue River had spoken earlier were now being thrown right back at him by the other guild leaders.
Go.
Even his own superior, Spring Breeze Old, had voiced his opinion, clearly believing Blue River was the most suitable candidate. Blue River was naturally quite frustrated, because this task was far from simple. You think you can just attack someone when you feel like it, and then call it off when you can't win. The world doesn't work that way. While Blue River didn't see Ye Chu as the type to press an advantage, the problem was that this retreat was just a temporary measure by the guilds. They definitely had a backup plan waiting. Blue River didn't believe for a second that Ye Chu couldn't see through their little scheme. Even if he didn't fully grasp the guild's conspiracy, he'd surely recognize it as a stalling tactic. After all, geographical advantages like Thousand Wave Lake don't come around at every level cap. Just bluff your way through this level range, and it's a whole new beginning.
I'm not confident.
Blue River said frankly.
It's fine. Nothing in this world is ever 100% certain.
Just do your best. Do your best.
The guild leaders spoke with grave sincerity, while a thoroughly exasperated Blue River just wanted to curse. They talk a good game now, but if he really can't close the deal, he doesn't believe for a second they'll stay this friendly. They'd probably turn around later and dump the whole mess on Blue Brook Guild. Blue River didn't believe Spring Intent Old would fail to grasp this logic. He couldn't understand why Spring Old had Blue River handle this lousy job either.
I can't handle it.
Blue River was adamant. He refused to back down.
Brother Blue River, that's not quite right. No one's forcing you to seal the deal. We just think you've got the best shot at it. You're giving up before you even try? That's a real letdown for everyone.
Blue River said nothing. In the heavenly domain, these were the kind of people who cursed and killed each other, who delighted in twisting the knife in your heart, the deeper the better, and now they were here, talking about being disheartened. Blue River found it laughable. Seeing that Blue River wasn't responding, the others turned their focus to the leader of Blue Brook Guild, Springing Willow, clearly trying to persuade him to order Blue River to go. Spring Chill was a man of few words in the group chat. He didn't say anything more, just sent a single question mark to Blue River in a private window.
Can't do it.
Blue River didn't hesitate in the slightest.
Can't handle it.
And so, Blue River watched as the message he just sent was instantly forwarded from Springing Willows into the group chat. He strongly suspected the guild leader had just copied and pasted the message. The man refused to budge, and no matter how furious the guild leaders were, they could only resort to snide remarks. But these people were never on the same side to begin with. What's a little trash talk between them? When you hear the same old gripes day in and day out, they just lose their sting. The group kept talking, but it felt pointless, so they went back to picking someone else.
How about Brother Yidu Hantungos? Looking across the entire 10th server, aside from guild leader Blue River, your tyrannical ambition guild has had the most dealings with Lord Grimm. You must know him quite well.
When the 10th server's 100 Blossoms guild leader, Baiding Dan, mentioned a certain someone, Cold Knight's face instantly darkened. But his boss, Jiang Yu, stepped up to speak on his behalf.
Everyone, the history between our guild and Yichu is pure dynamite. Sending us would likely backfire.
That makes sense. But if you ask Cold Knight, he'd tell you that while they only found out later that Lord Grimm was Yi Chu had known from the start that they were tyrannical ambition. Throughout all their dealings, Cold Knight never once felt that Yi Chu treated them any differently because of the bitter rivalry between their guilds. So that's the logic. But the reality is quite different. Of course, Knight crossing Cold Pond wouldn't put it that way. In fact, his real thoughts were exactly the same as Blue River's. He also felt this matter was hard to bring up and even harder to resolve, which was precisely why he didn't want to be the one to take the lead. So the person they suggested refused again, leaving everyone at a loss. In the end, they just pointed directly at Jiang Yu.
President Jiang, this plan was yours. So, who do you think is the most suitable candidate?
Not even Blue River. He's already made it clear he won't go.
How about we put it to a vote?
Jiang Yu was pushing for a democratic approach.
A vote? If the result is a certain someone, would they still oppose it?
Someone said.
Objection.
Blue River didn't hesitate for a second, immediately taking it as a personal jab. Exactly. If it were a real democratic vote, it'd either be him or Knight crossing Cold Pool. Everyone sent an emoji of helpless resignation. Jiang Yu saw that his grand plan was about to stall right here. He couldn't count on the other guilds, and Blue River absolutely refused to go. Well, if it's this much trouble, might as well man up and do it myself.
Cold Brook, you go. No one will blame you, whether it works out or not. Let's make a deal today. How this negotiation turned out is all on Knight crossing the Cold Pool. No one gets to complain. How's that?
That's it. That's the deal.
Many of the guild leaders began to chime in.
I have the
Screenshot
screenshot
for
as proof.
Jiang Yu said.
Screenshot for proof.
Everyone agreed. Dragging this out wouldn't change anything, and no one wanted to use it as an excuse for more drama. They just wanted to get past this hurdle and be done with it. And so, Knight crossing Cold Pool was, with great reluctance, chosen as the negotiator and sent to the front lines to parley with Ye Chu, hoping to reach a peaceful resolution.